So, what do serial killers do? They want to pick up people that have no relationship to them. Why do they get call girls? Because they're randoms. They want to pick up hitchhikers, and they did. Or Ted Bundy played a hitchhiker, and a single female would pick him up. No relation to him. So they picked up a random. So Ted Bundy did it both ways. He picked up randoms, and he played a hitchhiker to be picked up by somebody randomly. And so this means he killed, I don't know, they think way more than they knew, over 100. Some estimate it could be that high because there wasn't things tying them back. They didn't have where it's a visa system or they have plate readers tying people to an area. Like in Chicago, the red light cameras can read plates, and they tie all those plates to the area and they get stored in a database. So you're looking for people that are in the area at the time of the crime. But the number one thing serial killers do is they want to pick up random, whether pick up somebody randomly at the bar. Like me and Jen, we met for the first time through a mutual friend. But even that, she drove me, and that was more risky, but she drove me, gave me her number, and we met up for sushi. I took her to this place that played rock and roll and sushi, and that was the second date, and we got to know each other. So you shouldn't be looking to pick somebody up and go home with them that night. And so establish a relationship is the safest thing to do. If they're worth it now, they'll be worth it later. And obviously, you'll know if they have a wife or anything else, so you get yourself out of those bad scenarios where you didn't know they had a, like, if me, a guy, I had a girlfriend. But if you postpone it and you get a number and you call and they don't want to do that, then there's a reason they don't want to do that. Because they're trying to hide something. So control your urges and set it up for something in the future. And the worst thing you can do is you end up with a friend. So if you can control your impulses, you're much safer. So that's what I do. So anyways, these people all over the world, and there are serial killers all over the world. Like the guy in Pakistan, he killed over 100 children, and he used a train, but they think more. They could only tie him because they're, finding children, and it's very remote communities and so on he went into, and, reports of missing children and so on. Not very good in Pakistan. But they did do a lot of research and tied them to a minimum of 100 different children. And they think more. But he was a serial killer. He wasn't a terrorist. He lived in Pakistan. But again, he just picked up randoms. And he left town. So he didn't stay in town. He never killed anyone where he lived. He would go take a train far away, pick up a random, do it, and then go back home. And so this is what the police don't understand. You can come into Chicago, do crimes, and go back to Indiana. And it's very hard. Or like they did, they took the RTA down to the south side. They did crimes on the south side, and then went all the way back on the train to the south side. So the police in Wrigleyville are looking for somebody in that general area. It's just like the Chicago cops that were the thieves. They didn't do crimes in the city. They did them all the way up on the North Shore. And those North Shore police First of all, they're not looking for other cops, but they're not looking for City of Chicago cops going up to Lake Forest and doing a heist, or Wilmette and doing a heist. They knew. They had a great cover. And then they falsely imprisoned people to make sure they had a good arrest record. So they took people that did crimes and charged them with other crimes. So they were criminals. They didn't take somebody who wasn't a criminal. And that's why I tell criminals, when you get out of jail and that, you're the usual suspect. When they do a lineup, they're going to the usual suspects. And so you have to make sure you put yourself in places of knowing where you are. Put a home camera that the film's stored off. Truly, get a home camera on yourself that no one has access but you, and it records you at home. And have it stored off-site where it's just for verification purposes to prove that you were at home. So home security can be more. Have ADT store it. They don't access the data, but if you need to access it, it's there and it's your alibi. So again, when you have a checkered past, you have to do higher things to make sure that you don't get wrongfully accused. And none of these kids did. They were easy patsies. And so the detectives, to make them look good, they just busted these and just pinned it on them and they went to jail. So again, when you do bad things, you have a higher protocol to maintain showing people that you're clean. So you have to be beyond reproach. And you have to set up structures to protect yourself from being falsely accused. So again, if you don't put those things in place, then you make yourself an easy victim. And it might not be here. You might travel overseas. And somebody might know about your criminal record, and you do something over there that you didn't do, but you were in the same area of something and they wrongfully charge you. You're an easy scapegoat because you don't have a verified ironclad alibi. So you need to create your own ironclad alibi. That's why having the GPS on your phone and having the biometrics and everything else, and being transparent, meaning having it stored where you can't be accused of altering it or tainting it. That's why they put the recordings in the Oval Office. The president can't touch them. He has no access to them. He can never edit them. They're in basically a black box situation, and there is no changing them. And they should never be changed. That's why they can only declassify. They can cut segments. They can They can keep certain segments out and make certain segments available. They can do that, and they just say, this is not the full discussion. This is an edited version, and the rest of the discussion is classified. So it's redacted. So again, they can do that. But the whole point of these things is that you don't understand. When you do bad things, there's a higher level of accountability. And this is what the Bible teaches you about repentance and atonement. So if you want to restore yourself, you have to go in the reverse direction. And it's a forever war. And when you let down your defense, you make yourself vulnerable. It doesn't matter 10 years and so. Look at those people 10, 20 years later accused of rape or accused of these things. Like Clarence Thomas. How long ago was that? When he was a teacher in a law school. And Anita Hill accused him. And that was way back. And Clarence Thomas, even being this smart Supreme Court justice in that, he didn't prepare himself and protect himself from these wrongful accusations. So when you have these things and you've done these things, you have to be on the opposite side of keeping things quiet. You have to be highly transparent. That protects you. So the truth is your friend then. If you go the other way and shelter everything, then you're very exposed. That's why people like going into places like crowded areas with people, because there's lots of witnesses. That way they're not exposed. And so doing certain things protects yourself, like this guy doing the brights behind me. I mean, it's totally unacceptable and it's against the law and it is harassment, but they don't do anything about it. And then you don't want road rage, but they do everything to encourage road rage. And so you depend on law enforcement and prosecutors and everybody doing the right thing, but they won't arrest this guy. This cop, I'll drive right by here. He won't go off this post or report this guy and arrest him. He won't do anything. He'll just sit there with his thumb up his ass and turn a blind eye to injustice. That's why I fucking hate the Chicago cops. Every day they're choosing what laws they enforce and what laws they don't. And they don't have that effing right. They enforce every law. And when somebody violates, they bust them. Zero tolerance. But they sit here with their thumb looking for something major.